final minute. Bennett from the pocket. Launches to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. A.D. Mitchell.
3rd and 10 from the 11. Travis under pressure, trying to escape. Able to escape. Turns the corner. Stays in back.
Gets to the edge. Sonny Michel will send the dogs home.
Oh, to the 30. 35. Herman Whitfield to the 50. To the 40. Herman Whitfield to the 30.
Launching downfield. Underthrown and intercepted. Keely Ringo has an escort down the sidelines. All the way to the end zone.
What's going on, guys? This is the Knowles and Dogs podcast. I'm Hunter.
And I'm Dylan.
And we finally got an intro. So we're taking strides to being the top podcast. We finally got some color. So welcome aboard, guys. This is the remodeled version, new look, Knowles and Dogs. Penguins just scored a goal as we're starting. Penn's jersey on. We're playing. What a great time to be alive. How are we doing, Dylan?
Dude, we're doing great today. We are doing
great.
Today. Yeah, we're doing great tonight.
Vibes are high. Mm-hmm. Super Bowl's this weekend.
Yes, it is. That's crazy.
But as we all know, this is a college football podcast, but we're going to be doing a Super Bowl preview today, so that's going to be fun to do. We also got some college football news, some notable signees, quarterbacks, some notable QBs that are gotten invited to the Combine as that came out, and we'll do our weekly list. This week's list is top 5 coaches at the moment. So like right now, our top 5s, again, we do not tell each other our lists. We just kind of blindly tell each other. But before we start, this is a great time to always let you guys know. Subscribe, like, find us on Spotify, hit us, rate us there. Trying to see. Watch the videos, leave us comments.
Yeah.
Tell them, Dylan.
Yeah, we really appreciate the comments, the views on YouTube. YouTube especially, because I feel like that's the easiest for us to interact with you, because we can, immediately see your comments when you respond or anything. But, I know we've gotten 1 or 2 more subscribers in the past week or so we really appreciate it. And we're trying to get out as much content as possible for you guys.
For sure. We're trying to get the road to 50.
Mm-hmm.
Road to 50 subs.
Exactly.
That's just a start.
We're bringing up the production value slowly, too. We're working the hardest.
Exactly. See, when we get more subscribers, look at what happens. We get better stuff. We get music. We get intros. We get all of the fun stuff. So, yeah, make sure you're telling your friends. Continue to watch if you're already a subscriber. And let us know what you wanted to hear us talk about. All right. So, without further ado, we should probably just get started. We will get right to it. Super Bowl preview. Eagles, Chiefs. The Eagles are a 1.5 point favorite going into this weekend. It is on Fox on Sunday. I think we'll just kind of do a. I don't know how you want to do this. Do you want to just do a who do you like in this game and why?
Yeah, I don't think we need to get too in depth on it because, quite frankly, at this point, it's kind of oversaturated everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. So we're just going to give our personal opinions on this game.
Sounds
good. If you want to start, Hunter?
Sure. Sorry, the Penguins are on a power play. Ooh. Anyway, I'm going to get totally distracted right now. Oh, damn. Excuse me. All right, so I like the Eagles in this game. I think it helps, I guess. It does help a little bit how they haven't really played anybody. That does concern me a little bit because the quarterbacks they've had to go through is Daniel Jones for a 3rd time. Mm-hmm. And then they had to go through pretty much Christian McCaffrey and Josh Johnson. They played the Niners pretty much with a running back at quarterback. So they haven't really been tested at all. Positive to that is, though, they haven't possibly needed to show the entire playbook. Mm-hmm. They don't need to They're not everybody. I believe everyone for the most part's fresh and ready to go. The Chiefs, some of the big time guys where there's a little mild illness going around, which is, I mean, take that how you want to.
Right.
But there's that. I just think the Eagles are playing at such a high level right now, and their ability to get pressure on the quarterback, I think, is going to be a difference maker. We still don't know that. We really don't know how Mahomes' knee or ankle is still. I can't. I gotta know it. I gotta guess it's
Mhm.
still not 100%. I mean, Mahomes is going to be Mahomes, so you always got to be wary of that. But I think they'll be able to limit Kelsey. I think there's if they can limit, I think like Miko Hardman and Kadarius Toney, I think they'll be all right. The
Yeah.
Eagles secondary is a little bit weary, but I think the Eagles are so well rounded everywhere. Like they can beat you in so many ways. If they want to go deep on you, they will. They got Brown and Smith. If they want to just run the ball, they got Scott and Sanders and Hurts. They can do so many ways to just beat you, and they're so fundamentally sound. I just don't know. I feel like it's Philly's game to lose, and Drake bet on the Chiefs, so the Drake curse is alive and well.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I I think it's a close game though. But we'll see. I mean, you never want to doubt the Chiefs because they're always that been there, done that team.
Hmm.
But
And this will be
I
their
think this is
third
this
Super
is.
Bowl appearance in like 5 years, right?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, 20.
1920.
Well, 20. Yeah, 1920, and then now,
Yeah.
and I mean, you don't want to doubt them because they're never out of it, as we always tell. You got to play a really good game to beat them. Just because Mahomes is always there, he's gonna.
Mhm.
You never want to. He's never out of it, officially out of it. So,
Right.
but I just think that Philly is gonna overwhelm them a little bit, and that if Kansas City can't keep Mahomes upright in the pocket, it's gonna be a long day.
Yeah.
But that's why I think Philly's gonna win.
So I'll start with saying I agree with you that I think Philly's going to win too, but the biggest key to the game, in my opinion, is I think Philly just has so much better weapons. Like
Yeah.
in general,
hmm
I think you agree with what I'm going to say here, but Kansas City really does not have an AJ Brown. You know what I mean?
They don't have.
A,
I mean, they have Kelsey,
but
but
at the same time, Kelsey's a tight end. You know what I mean? Like
well,
as good as
he's
he
pretty
is,
much lines up in the
he's
wide receiver spot
he,
though.
but he's limited.
hmm
He's not gonna take a deep pass down. You know what I mean? It's gonna be he kills you with his short game stuff. You know what I mean? His line out
Yards after
short,
catch.
yeah, mismatches on linebackers and say like stuff like that. With AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, you just have a straight up dynamic threat on both sides. Especially, they also have Dallas Goddard, who, quite frankly, is probably top 10 tight end in the league, and he's
Yeah,
a great weapon. I just think with Jalen Brown also, Jalen Brown, Jalen
nice,
Hurts.
nice.
Sorry, I was watching the Celtics earlier. I swear. with
It's
Jalen
never
Hurts,
too late.
with Jalen Hurts also being such a dynamic running threat, I really do like the Eagles this year. I I know this is gonna sound like I'm giving so much praise to Jason's team right now, but
Oh yeah.
I really do. I think this is Philly's year. They're gonna get their second Super Bowl win.
hmm I yeah. It's now the only other thing I think Kansas City has to do if they have a shot on the defensive side, they got to get pressure. They got to
Mhm.
corral. They got to keep Hurts contained in the pocket because if you're late him get outside the pocket, it's going to be a long day.
Yeah.
I know, like Lane Johnson, I know has been dealing with I think it's shin or calf, some sort of leg injury
Mhm.
that he's going to end up probably needing surgery on after this year. But like he hurt it like early this year, but he chose not to. He's been playing through an injury. So I know Chris Jones has been having a really good playoff. So they're going to have to get pressure They're gonna have to corral Hurts, but I just think like too many weapons, just too fundamentally sound. I think they can just beat you so many different ways that it's just gonna be a long day. I mean,
Yeah.
but again, I'm not gonna count them out because it's the Chiefs. I thought the Bengals were gonna take care of them. They didn't. Um, so we'll see. Now, does it worry you at all that the Eagles haven't really been tested at all, where the Chiefs have had to go through Cincy and Jacksonville?
It really doesn't change how I see the Eagles because I just felt like, well, they weren't challenged as much as Kansas City was in the playoffs. It really just meant they get to stay healthy for the most part. You know what I mean? They didn't
Yeah,
have to show their hand like Kansas City really had to show their hand against Cincinnati there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like they actually had to pull out all the stops to get a close victory against them. And
hmm
like Philly, I mean, it's not like they played bad teams this year. I mean,
But just recently,
yeah, but the Giants weren't bad this year. The Giants, surprisingly, I feel like the Giants were probably in the upper echelon of teams
yeah.
for the
But I mean,
majority of the year. They had a
they
bad,
they handled them.
yeah, they,
They handled them though like 3 times in a row.
yeah.
That's the
I think
thing.
that was just a bad matchup on all sides. But
But
yeah,
I will say we can probably both agree though that the AFC is a lot better than the NFC.
mhm,
We could say that, right?
yeah.
Just from a
It's just
teams and
quarterbacks.
talent perspective.
It's a quarterbacks thing.
Just,
That's the biggest thing
there's
in
a
the
lot.
NFL is quarterbacks.
Yeah. I mean, the AFC is like a gauntlet now.
Hmm.
Um, so
Well, with Brady retiring and Rodgers probably leaving the Packers, and there's a decent chance I've been hearing a lot of more AFC teams trying to get him than NFC. I mean,
yeah.
quite frankly, are there any quarterbacks in the NFC?
I mean, so you
This
got
Justin
pretty much
Fields conference?
Jalen Hurts is going to probably be the number one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Prescott, Kirk Cousins, Brock
Oh,
Purdy, I guess,
oh no, Jared Goff. You know,
Jared Goff.
it's quite. Jared Goff might end up being the best passer in the NFC next year.
I still think Hurts is better.
No, I
I
mean
think.
passer though. I think Hurts
Mm,
is a better quarterback, but I think Goff puts up better passing numbers because Hurts doesn't
well, it's
throw
because
the
they
ball
got to
nearly
throw the
as
ball.
much. Yeah,
Um,
I don't think Goff has a better arm. I just think
yeah.
Hurts runs the ball more.
I trying to think who else. I mean, Kyler Murray,
If he's in Arizona next year.
little midget.
No, he's
Uh,
hurt. He tore his ACL.
yeah, but I mean, he'll be back.
Who knows if he'll be? He won't be as athletic though. Maybe you never know with that guy.
True.
ACL injury on a smaller
I mean,
man.
you got to think like. No, I'm thinking an AFC team. There's just probably going to be a bunch of rookies.
Yeah,
Derek Carr, I know, has been rumored that he's might be going to like the Saints.
but I feel
So,
like that's a match made in hell. Like that's not. That's
but
just
he,
it
but
would
if we're
blow
just
up on
talking
everybody's
passing,
face.
if we're just talking from pure passing and
Hmm.
just numbers perspective, like he's right up there.
Yeah, I just
Um,
think we're looking at the dark age of the NFC right now.
yeah,
Like we're staring down the barrel. This is probably Philadelphia's conference for the
but I
next at
mean,
least 2
really,
years.
honestly, I mean, it's almost like if you're like a middle of the pack team, though, like this is a time where you can honestly make up some ground
Hmm.
because it's wide open right now up there.
Yeah, I'd say especially for a team like I think Seattle can if no offense to Geno Smith, but if they put a package together for Rodgers, like you got a solid
They're gonna
2 year
ride with
window right
Gino.
there.
They'll
I just
they'll ride with him or they're gonna draft a guy. They're not gonna go after Rodgers.
I don't know. I don't really see them going. I think the Jets are really gonna push for Rodgers this year.
The Jets always stink, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah,
I can't even think of any teams that would be good next year. Maybe what Atlanta. Atlanta could put
Atlanta,
something together.
Atlanta, Carolina weren't too bad this year.
No, they weren't bad.
I don't know what Tampa's going to do. They got a bunch of guys that are old and
I think
contracts.
they're gonna rebuild. I think this
I mean,
is
you're
we're
going
gonna
to
watch.
blow it
We're gonna
up.
yeah. We're gonna watch them purposely start the worst quarterback they can in Kyle Trask.
Well, do you draft a quarterback if you're Tampa this year?
No, not this year,
You
because your
wait?
pick's too low. Your pick's too low for any of the good ones.
Well, I
So you
mean,
wait. You wait for next
this
year
is a
in
pretty
hopes of
deep
getting
quarterback
Caleb
class.
Williams. I think you wait till next year to try to get Williams or possibly another guy because
There's Williams,
Mhm.
May,
Yep.
possibly, depending on, I mean, we're just making pure. I think, is Quinn Ewers up next year?
Yes, he will be. Quinn Ewers
Carson
will be there.
Beck. Carson Beck's a junior
Mhm.
this year. I
Um,
still think this year's draft class is very deep. I think this is.
but I just think
I
after the
think you can
first
find
two,
some. Well, I think you can find some hidden gems, and we're going to talk about this with the combine stuff. We'll
Mhm.
kind of. This is kind of like an NFL-esque hybrid show today, but like
I think
there is.
we might as well just move into the combines after talking about
Yeah.
this. We're talking quarterbacks.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean. Oh, all right. So before we do though, because
Yeah.
put a pause on that.
hmm
Um, what's your final score prediction?
Final score prediction is I'm gonna go 28-21 Eagles over Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes throws an interception with 2 minutes left to ice the game.
Ooh.
hmm
I'm gonna go. mm, I'm gonna go 31-23.
Okay. Okay.
I think Chiefs just Eagles get a late stop. Eagles get a stop late when the
Mhm.
Chiefs have the ball. It really feels like it tends to be how it usually is. Although it's all stat. So there have been two other instances where the number one offense takes on the number one defense.
Mhm.
And the last two times, the average margin of victory, I think, is one
I know the
second.
defense is one. I'm gonna stop you right there and say I know the defense is
Yeah.
one.
So the Bucks. Hold on a second. I just want to see. I'm gonna do. It
Because
was
if it's
40, 48, 21. That what's
yeah, and then the 2013 the Broncos lost 48-3 or 48-3 against the
yeah
Seahawks.
43. No, it was 43 minus 8.
Okay.
So the average margin of victory is 31
Yeah.
in favor of the defensive team.
hmm
So we've seen these defenses have controlled these offenses. And let's not make mistake it, like Philly's offense is just as capable. So
Yeah.
this is why I think
Well, I
but I
mean,
think Mahomes is good enough to
yeah.
keep this in check.
Like, because I think those it's a kind of an out of um context stat too, though, because he kind of ignores the fact that
Well, it's good on good, you know.
like that Bucks Raiders game, right?
Yeah.
Tampa knew the Raiders playbook because they had their head coach. They score.
Yeah, they did 2-1.
Yeah. And then in 2013, the Broncos just completely collapsed in the first quarter. Yeah, I mean, if you remember, the
But
first
I
play
mean
of the
that
game
defense is
was
lit.
a snap 20 feet over Manning's head for a safety. Like it was just an
That's how the
omen.
Steelers that's how that Steeler game a couple of years ago against the Browns happened. And that's
Yeah.
kind of like set us back. I mean, honestly, if you really want to look at next step forward, I mean, that COVID year when the Bucks played the Chiefs, I mean, that Bucks defense, I mean, just
hmm
I don't even know what the word is, but like
I mean, they just blew up KC's
choked
offensive
out,
line. They just didn't.
that offensive line. They
Mhm.
disrupted Mahomes, didn't give him any time. They shut down Kelsey. Like they did everything like I think the Eagles are going to do. Like this has a chance. Like I'm saying 31-23 because I think Mahomes is good enough. And that Philly secondary gives me worrisome a little bit sometimes.
Yeah.
But This has the. I mean, this does. This could honestly be like a 27-10 game. I
Yeah,
mean,
I was gonna say Ndamukong Suh is also on this team.
yeah. You got Fletcher Cox. You got Brendan Graham. You got Ndamukong Suh. You got. I mean, Jordan Davis rotates in. He doesn't play much. I mean, I'm trying to think who else is on that defense.
They got good guys. I don't want to go too deep into this.
Oh,
'Cause,
Hassan Reddick.
yeah.
He leads the league in quarterback pressure.
Mhm.
They have dudes, and I think
Yeah.
that's what they're going to give that line fits. So I'm saying 31-23. This feels like it could be a 27-10 game. I would not be surprised if it's a blow. Just say, put it out there.
Okay.
Wouldn't be surprised. Would not be
You know,
surprised.
I'm gonna make one. That's your bold prediction for the game, but my bold prediction is Kansas City runs Philly special on Philly.
That plays so old. I mean, everyone does it now. It's so
Yeah,
predictable.
it's the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter. They'll run it, and guess what? They'll probably make it too. You know,
All
they'll
right.
have Kelsey
So
throw to
we'll move
Mahomes.
on. Yeah, right. Well, they do that shovel pass anyway.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on though. There's our Super Bowl preview. Did you have the? We'll move on here to quarterbacks, notable ones to the combine. I know you had a site pulled up.
Yep.
Did you want to display it?
Yeah, I'll just display it for you so we can both see everything.
Just kind of. I had a tweet that I saved. It just had the list of guys.
Hold on.
Trying to see.
Can you see the screen or?
Here, I just try to add it to the stream.
Okay, there you go. There we go. So we'll start from the
Here,
top.
I
of the list.
gotta.
It's all 15 guys.
Let me make sure we got it. Who's that?
Tyler Bagent from Shepherd, smaller school.
I'm just trying to see because I have. Oh, there it is. Okay.
So we'll start with Stequavius Bennett.
Just start at the
fourth.
top. Just start at the
Yep.
top. I mean, do we know who this guy? This is Tyler Bagent from Shepherd. He'll be a 7th round pick.
As far as I could tell, the reason he's being invited was as a thrower, not really a serious candidate. But we'll move on to our first real one, Stequavius Bennett the fourth.
Yeah, we're not going. We won't. Don't go. We won't do everybody. We'll just do some notable guys.
Yeah, just the bigger top players. But I mean, what is there to say about Stequavius?
He's a baller. If you put him in, I mean, he's kind of just like a gunslinger. Doesn't really care what's going to happen. I think his arm is a little. It's not where you want it to be. I think from an NFL standpoint, he does have a tendency sometimes. And his arm strength took a big step forward this year, but I still think he has a tendency to underthrow guys a little bit, where they got to come back to the ball more as just leading them on like deep shots. So, but I think this is going to be a big showing for him to see, especially after the public intoxication thing. Like, worse is his mind right? Like, is he going to come out here and ball? Let's just see how he does. I think this is like a kind of like, I mean, because we all keep saying it, like a Brock Purdy-esque thing where, if you put, I mean, again, this goes for any but quarterback though. Like, if you put him in the right, if you get to the right system and he gets a shot, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, he wins. I mean, he's a winner in college, 2-time back-to-back national champ. I mean, there's nothing really else to say. Like, Stetson Bennett. He's one of the more mobile quarterbacks in this class, though. I will say, like, I will very mobile.
Yeah, I do like Bennett's mobility, but he does have a couple knocks on him. The biggest thing being his arm isn't as talented as a couple of the guys.
In his size.
His size, he's a little bit smaller, and he's a little bit skinnier too. If you look at him, he's kind of a thin fellow. So I think he'll probably end up going in the 6th round.
You think?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing knocking him though is I don't think any team is gonna want to put their full foot forward on him, right? Just because of his age, his size, his height.
Well, I mean,
And
Hendon Hooker's 25, so
I
and
don't think
he's
Hendon
projected to
Hooker's
go.
he's projected, but I think he'll really end up going
He's
probably
a projected
5th, 6th.
late day 1, day 2 guy. So
I feel like that's crazy. I don't see him going that high. I feel like that's pre-draft buzz. It's the same thing as the Bears taking
I've heard
Anthony
the Titans
Richardson.
like him.
Did you see that? The Bears and Anthony Richardson? I thought that was.
We'll see.
We'll move on.
We'll see. All right, we'll move on. This is.
Malik Cunningham. Anything to say
I
about
don't.
him?
I don't buy the hype with him at all.
I don't think
He
he gets
doesn't.
drafted.
If he does, it's a late draft, like 6th round.
Mhm.
He's a day 3 guy. If he does, he doesn't. He was mediocre in college. I mean, he's like a Lamar Jackson-esque quarterback where he's run happy, throw it to, but like I don't see what he has. I mean, he's fast, he's very mobile,
Yeah.
but a winning perspective, a lot more losses than wins. I don't know. I don't
think
buy the hype in him.
if you're looking at Cunningham, you're looking at him as a backup to a guy. So like I can
think
imagine him. You know what I'm gonna say? Yeah.
Learning, getting under, maybe getting used, getting reps, learning the system.
If he saw this right now, he's gonna hate what I'm about to say. I do not think he'll ever be a real starter in the league, but I think he can be a very good backup to a team that has like a Lamar Jackson or a Kyler Murray, as a guy who could just step
like
in
a
for
Tyler
the game.
Huntley-esque.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, Tyler Huntley is Pro Bowler, so.
I mean, Max Duggan.
Max Duggan.
He's not doing too
good. He's really hurt his draft stock from he didn't have a very good Senior Bowl. He's really his last couple games in college did not help him. He's a good quarterback, mobile quarterback, has a good arm, but again, this is like another back. I think he's more. He's going to be more of a backup-esque.
Yeah. Practice squad guy. No offense to him. I mean, that's true. I think
he's better. I think he's good enough to be like a backup or a third stringer.
Yeah, but most third stringers end up getting down to the practice squad. Well, I mean, that's not a hate thing to say. I mean, it's still pretty impressive to even be that far, but I just don't think, like I said with Cunningham and Bennett, I just don't think a team is really going to put their full trust in him ever. He's but we'll move on. Anything to say about Jake Haener?
Jake Haener, Senior Bowl MVP right here. I mean, to be honest with you, I know from what I've watched a little bit, I know he's a good quarterback. He won a lot at Fresno. But I mean, these are just guys I think are there. I mean, you just want to say backups because that's
what most quarterbacks come out of the draft as, though. I mean, that's not.
And unless you're like a top, these guys are going to be like they're going to have to find like a good fit. And they're really just going to have to bust their butt and try to just get those reps.
Yeah. You want to carve out a spot on a roster for yourself, right? Especially if you're a Jake Haener kind of guy, right? And you're not projected to go first round, but you are not one of the 4 guys who you really need to talk about when it comes to drafting quarterbacks this year. But if you're not one of those 4, you really just need to go crazy and prove to a team, hey, I can hold a clipboard well.
Listen, some of these guys in these later rounds get drafted to the better fits than some of those early guys. So, I mean, just because you're a first rounder, let's not forget, just because you're a first rounder does not mean you're automatically just going to be a stud. Like, some of the better guys come in the late rounds. So
Prescott and Yeah, guys like that. Yeah, yeah.
Brock Purdy. I mean,
Brock
we
Purdy.
keep saying his name, Mr. Irrelevant. Like, find a good fit, and when you get your shot, don't mess it. This guy's a bust. Get him out. I don't care. Get him out. I don't want to see it. Jaron Hall, no. Now, if he gets drafted, I've heard Tennessee likes him a lot. He's been in contact with him. If Tennessee,
I wonder
think,
why.
honestly, though, it's not a bad fit. They need a quarterback. They need some sort of jump start to that offense.
Yeah.
I think he's Malik Hooker.
I said the
Hendon
same
Hooker.
thing with Cunningham. It's Hendon Hooker, yeah.
I think Hendon Hooker is a way better quarterback than Malik Cunningham. Hendon Hooker
No,
has
but I was saying I messed up and called him Malik
Oh yeah,
Hooker at
right.
first.
Yeah. No, Hendon Hooker, he has a cannon of an arm.
Mhm.
He's I would like to see him be a little more mobile. What we'll see because he's had healing up from the ACL tear. But if he can continue to build off what he was doing at Tennessee, I mean, he has a real shot to be a really successful guy. I still think he's going to be like a day 2 guy.
Yeah.
Like, I still think he's going to find a good fit. And even if he sits out a year, like this is a kind of guy I feel like is going to possibly sit out a year. Let's continue to rehab, get to full health, and then he's going to come out when he's going to get a shot. And I think he's going to capitalize on it.
I think it's a 50-50. I think it just depends. Because he's in the combine, but he's not going to be doing everything because of the injury. So
I don't think he's going to do really. He can't. I don't think he's just started throwing though.
Mm-hmm.
He's been throwing. There's videos of him throwing from like a knee and stuff, which is a big step forward from. I mean, it's an ACL tear.
Yeah, exactly. But I just don't think this combine is really going to help him all that much. So.
Well, I mean, a lot of these guys, some of the guys pick and choose what they're going to do, and then they go to the pro day and do something else.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, because some guys do both. So,
but I'm just saying because of his injury, he's kind of limited when it comes to this stuff. So I think depending on what his physical looks like before the draft, I think that's really what's going to come down to. Because like if he takes a physical and the NFL doctors are like, stay away from this man, he'll fall to day 3. But I think if they're like, it's not too serious, he's going to be all right. He might miss the first 2 months of the season or whatever, and then he can start, but he can learn the playbook. I think he can very much go day 2, like a 3rd round pick to Tennessee, maybe. Be funny though if he stayed in the same state. Crazy.
For sure.
That's probably also helped sell tickets.
Oh God, I don't know.
Before you get into this, I want to huddle up 2 of these guys together. In Will Levis and Anthony Richardson.
Hold on, I want to pull up a mock draft. I'm just going to pull up a recent mock draft. Continue to talk. I want to see where these guys are falling right now.
So, because I think Will Levis and Anthony Richardson both fit the same mold as a guy who people are really attached to the potential rather than what we've actually seen. Because everybody wants Josh Allen.
They're looking at physical traits.
Yeah, everybody wants Josh Allen. Everybody wants Patrick Mahomes. So everybody is looking for these things where they're like, oh, they show flashes. They could become this. And I just don't know if either of these guys really have the makings of an NFL quarterback. Like, I just don't know. Especially
go
ahead. Don't know. Well, at least with Levis, I think you can kind of see it in a couple games more than Richardson, because Richardson has throws, and then he'll follow up a throw with the worst throw you'll ever see, where he'll overthrow a guy by 40 yards, and you'll be like, who did he even see there?
I think if you're comparing those 2, Levis, I think Levis gets the nod just because I think from a quarterback position perspective, he's a better pocket passer.
Yeah.
He's a pass thrower first, not a run first kind of guy. I think he makes decisions. He kind of got caught this year I know he got caught with the injury bug a lot, lack of weapons, lack of protection. It was just kind of like a bad year. But he's so physically gifted. I think like he's projected right now in this mock draft from CBS. It has CJ Stroud, Bryce Young going to 2, and then Will Levis going 3 to the Panthers. And then actually it has Anthony Richardson going
What, to Detroit?
Actually, right now has him going to Tampa.
Oh, that
And
sucks.
then the 19th. Oh, that's you.
I
Dylan
would
is
be so
a
upset.
big time Bucks fan, folks.
Yeah.
Steeler fan. Here.
Dude, I would. Oh my god! But
That's your guy. Come on, that's his. Come
it's
on.
not like I'm gonna be how Gator fans were when Winston was the starting quarterback out here. The key was a kid of doing the craziest things. He doesn't do anything at all. But
Nice.
so I think the thing is with Levis. I think if, for say, the Panthers draft him, I think that's actually the perfect scenario possible for him
Mhm.
because he'd be in a position where they have some weapons. You know what I mean? Like they have.
Mhm.
There's guys in front of you who have experience too. Like 'cause he'll have Sam Darnold there too to kind of be
Yeah.
like a kind of guy who can be like, I was a top 5 pick in the draft. I can kind of help you guide yourself through that immense hype under you when you might not be ready for it.
Yeah. I do think it's weird this year than any other year. I feel like because this year's like top like 5 teams and stuff. Like they're not like terrible teams. They're just like couple missing pieces away. So
Well, there's one really bad team at the
um
top in the Texans, and
that's well, actually, I
God
mean, to be
rest.
honest with you, I mean the Texans, they didn't have John Mechie at all last year because he was recovering from his cancer.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, they were stuck with Davis Mills all year. I mean, it's hard to win when you got him at quarterback. I mean, they're going to projected to get Bryce Young right now. So, like, I mean, and they got a new coach coming in, D'Amico Ryans, who's really good defensively. There looks like they're about to lock up Cliff Kingsbury as an OC. Like, there's something brewing in Houston. Like, I mean, these aren't bad, like super bad teams. So
I don't know if Houston because there's
I think
moments
the only
there's things to be excited about, and then you really look at the whole roster and you go, they're gonna suck next year too.
well, yeah, but I mean, it's not going to be a 1-year turnaround.
No,
They're better than the Bears. The Bears stink.
the Bears are bad, and
Bears are bad. Justin Fields is bad. Don't be surprised. I've heard. Don't be
slow
surprised. The
down
Bears will
because you were
draft a
gonna
quarterback.
get the fury of the city of Chicago after you by saying Justin Fields is bad, even
Listen,
though
as a former
off
Chicago
the
resident,
off the record,
I
I
don't care.
completely agree with you. I do not think Justin Fields is anywhere as good as Bears fans make him out to be. He is not a franchise quarterback yet. Maybe he can become one, but when you have more than one game this year where you threw under 100 yards and you completely looked lost 90% of the game, I don't think you can say, yeah, that's our guy.
That's what worries me with Anthony Richardson, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about him here in a second. But like, that's what worries me. He's just going to be a run kind of guy first,
Hmm.
and he's going to get caught. He's going to get himself hurt because
Yeah.
he's going to want to just run all the time. But we'll see. Next, I've heard sneaky. This is a sneaky pick. I've heard like whoever
Mhm.
gets this guy, Hammerkey, wasn't bad. Stanford was just bad in general, but wasn't terribly stat wise.
Well, because David
I've
Shaw was
heard
just not a great head
this.
coach. Part of it is why.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get kind of caught with an archaic system.
Because
But I've heard like this is
Davis
a guy
Mills
that
also came to Stanford, and
yeah,
he's not great, but like he is a NFL quarterback. Like he'll be in the league for many years.
yeah, this is a guy I've heard is whoever picks him up, um, they're gonna be pleased. Like he's gonna be a solid guy to be around. He's
Mm.
gonna be he has all the intangibles. Just a good pickup, but he's gonna be a later, I think, an early day 3 guy.
Hmm.
That's where I see.
Tanner McKee, you are a Patriot.
Aiden
Aiden
O'Connell.
O'Connell. I really haven't
Um,
heard too much about him in a while now.
this feels like a late day 3 guy to me.
Yeah.
Good thrower of the ball. But yeah, this is gonna be he's gonna be like picked up third stringer. See where he goes from there.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think he's gonna be up to one of those guys who has to work his butt off to get out of training camp.
Mhm.
Our favorite guy.
Ha. Well, we kind of been talking about him.
Hmm. It's hard not to.
Cannon of an arm. I mean,
Hmm.
one of the most physically gifted quarterbacks in this class. 6'5", just a little over 200 pounds. Just can run like a gazelle. Has a cannon of an arm, but just boneheaded decisions. Too
Hmm.
much bad rather than too much good. Just too much inconsistency from this guy. Um, I mean, it's just a risk. I mean, it's what the draft is. It's you got to go big or go home, and this is kind of like one of those guys. It's going to be this is like those boomer. This is like the boomer bust kind of guy. Because he's good enough where he's gonna get drafted, where he's gonna be probably a day one starter, if
Yeah.
not come in earlier he's gonna come in at some point in his first year. Um, but it's just he's got to get more consistent when he's throwing the ball,
Hmm.
and he can't just panic. He panics too much in the pocket where it's like, oh shoot, let me just run. Yeah, he's got to be able to just get through his reads and progressions and just, okay, let me find a guy. Let me not force it. If it's
Yeah.
not there, live to throw it another day.
I think the biggest thing
Go ahead.
to add on to that is whoever drafts him needs to work on his mechanics because he loves to overthrow guys. Like in every spot on the
Yeah.
field too. It's not just he overthrows um, sideline throws. It's like no, he will overthrow a guy wide open down the middle. Like just I don't
I
know
mean,
if he puts too much on it or whatever, but I'm not a mechanics guy, but it's obvious when you watch him that he does need a coach who can sit down. So if he ended up in a place where there's a quarterback coach with a lot of years of experience who can help him, I think maybe because it's always a gamble when with these kind of guys, but they could build something over time. But like if he ended up in Houston or Chicago or like Detroit, I think oh well, gosh, that'd be a nightmare for him.
no, he'll
Like
go. He's
he
not
could.
going to go that early. He'll be a later guy. I think he's going to fall in a decent system.
Mhm,
It's just what he does from there. I keep seeing videos of him like working out and going through like drills and stuff,
mhm,
and they're just loving all of it. But I mean, I always come back to this game, but like the Georgia game this year, he missed, I want to say like 3 or 4 throws that if they hit, it's a totally different
yep.
ballgame. Like he had probably 2 guys for touchdowns that he missed wide open. He had the one connected ball that he didn't miss, and they scored a touchdown. Like he missed a couple ones that they're caught, like it's a different ball game.
Mhm.
So I mean, he just again, that's just like what you were saying. There's too much inconsistency from him.
I would say
Needs
because
to be more consistent.
it's like Russian roulette with Anthony Richardson at times, right? Because you'll
Yeah,
turn on one
you
game
never
film,
know.
you never
You
know what you're
never
getting.
know what you're gonna get. Each play is a different story.
Mhm. But I would say like if you turn on the Utah tape, right? You're like, okay, I can see all the talent, but then you turn on, I don't know, Kentucky, like you're like, these are two
Go the
different
next
quarterbacks.
week.
I would say you turn on the first quarter and the third quarter of the Florida State game, and you're like, oh, this guy's extremely talented, or this guy missed 12 throws in a row.
I mean, even if you look at the Utah game, his passing yards weren't even that high.
No.
He ran the ball. He ran all over Utah. And Utah's defense wasn't very good this year. They were expected to be better than they were, but yeah, I mean, each you never know what you're going to get with him. So
But that
if
was
he
a
can
yeah.
get consistent,
I just
that's just going to be the big word. That's going to be the big question mark with him. It's just can he, because the physical traits are there. It's just
mhm.
can he stay consistent enough where he's going to be able to carve out a career? You know?
Yeah. I just we'll get to see on draft day, right? And that was our thoughts on the day one
Yeah.
on the week one Heisman.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. How many more do we have here?
I think there's only two big ones we need to talk about.
Okay, so I think with these two, I mean, honestly, you can just talk about it now.
Yeah.
Who's after this? We'll go back up here. Who is after this?
I don't think he's
Dorian
getting
Thompson
drafted.
Robinson, late. He'll get drafted. Sneaky 6th or 7th round pick.
Mhm.
I think he's going to be a sneaky backup quarterback, where he's going to be like there. If you need a solid backup, he'll be that guy.
Yeah.
Next, all right, we'll just go. Who else is that?
Clayton Tune.
Same
Don't really
thing.
have
Clayton
anything.
Tune,
Yeah.
probably undrafted. Next.
Yep. And
All
this
right,
last
so
one.
who's after? All right, so we'll just talk about Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud.
Hmm.
They back and forth. They go for who's going to be the number 1 overall pick. On the mock draft I had pulled up, it had Stroud going number 1, Young
Yeah.
going 2. So they're flip flop however you want it. Personally, I think Stroud. I think Young's a better quarterback from I think actually, you know what? I'm gonna say Bryce Young's a better quarterback. I would have Young over Stroud. I like, if you want to get technical, how the scouts do, like how Young's a little smaller in size than Stroud is.
I think a
But worries me a
little.
little bit Stroud because
I think small. That's a kind of an understatement with how tiny Bryce Young really is.
sets a minute taller than him. Just want to
Yeah.
point that out for everybody.
I was gonna say they had a side by side, and Bryce Young might be half an
The
inch
national
taller than
title
Nick
game.
Saban, and Nick Saban is 5'6". So he's small.
But he's a hell of a quarterback.
Hmm.
He's 5'10", 5'11".
He's not.
Yeah, he is.
That is
He's not that tall.
definitely that is
I'm
Alabama
5'10".
doing their best. You were
I'm
taller than
5'10".
Bryce Young. I was say because they
No,
had the
I'm
side
not.
by side. They had the side by side with Kyler Murray, and he was like the exact same height as Kyler Murray when he had his cleats on.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's small. He's not a big guy, which has its
Well, yeah.
ups and downs.
Mm-hmm. Let me see. I'm trying to find it. Yeah. 1 second. So who do you like? Let's hear it.
Mhm.
Let's hear the. What do you like about him?
What I like about Bryce Young,
Yeah, like who do you like more?
well, I like Stroud a little bit more because the size, and I think he, even though he didn't show off his mobility much in college, that game against Georgia where he
Mm-hmm.
really did have a chance to show it off, I think he does have some speed on him. He has some wheels. I think in the long term, I think Stroud is a better prospect. I think if I was drafting
You
today
think?
between the two, I would probably take Stroud, but primarily because I'm just scared of Bryce Young when it comes to with how tiny he is and how skinny he is. I would just be terrified of him getting hurt,
Mm-hmm.
especially if I'm a team at the top who probably has a poor offensive line.
I mean, I think he's good enough where he's mobile enough and he has a strong enough arm where I don't think injury or height's going to really play a big factor because we've seen smaller quarterbacks like Russell Wilson and Drew
Mhm.
Brees like pave out good careers. So he's tall enough where he's not going to have issue. Like, I mean, he was fine at Bama. I mean, in the SEC, he's probably the best pre-NFL talent you're going to see. So I think he'll be fine from there. Will he have a couple balls batted down? Sure, everyone does, but
Mhm.
um, I think he'll. It just depends on who's going to go where, because and how you're or trying to think of the word, how you play well. I guess there, like, are you able to have success? Because you're not going to go to a good team
Mhm.
from a depth wise to a winning percentage wise. Like you're going there to try to change the culture, try to get that team back on the map. So like these guys are winners in college and stuff. If I would, I mean, I'd rather have Young if I was starting a team,
Mhm.
Stroud, but Stroud showed a lot, and just from that Peach Bowl, where he might change your mind. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how like all their individual drills and their times and all that fun stuff separates each other. But I honestly think it doesn't really matter from a draft spot wise because they're either going to go one or two is where these two are going
Yeah.
to go. So, all right.
I just think if
Think we got there.
Bryce Young in Chicago would be a nightmare.
No, I think Chicago's going to get a
No, they're not.
defensive guy.
Yeah, they're not going quarterback. I just think, nightmare scenario. Bryce Young is in
They'll
Chicago. He gets
if
sacked
they
every single play.
they'll draft a quarterback, it'll be a day 2, day 3 guy.
I think they'll wait till next year. I think they'll
We'll
wait
see.
just because they're gonna give the Fields experiment another year.
Well, then they need to draft receivers and stuff.
Oh no, they got Chase Claypool. They're fine.
Hey, they can have him.
All right,
Not
let's
my
get on
problem.
to the
All
notable
right.
news from the past week.
So, some notable college football news.
Mhm.
Some coordinators got hired.
Ooh.
I almost said it. I didn't. Tommy Reese and who's
Mhm.
the other guy? Kevin Steele
Yep.
were just hired as Bama's new offensive and defensive coordinators. Tommy Reese coming from Notre Dame, and Kevin Steele's coming from Miami.
Yep.
Kevin Steele, notable former Auburn defensive coordinator. So
You know what else is
I don't
notable
know
about
how.
that, real quick? I just a quick to add to that.
What's
Kevin
that?
Steele is who the Auburn Boosters kicked out Gus Malzahn for. They wanted Kevin Steele to be their next head coach.
And they got Brian Harson instead.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Now he's a
Oh
Bama
yeah,
defensive coordinator. Funny how the world works,
yeah.
man.
We'll see if he's able to fix a Bama defense that honestly was not very good at all last year. They struggled all year. They got Dallas Turner coming back and some other guys like Kool-Aid McKinstry coming
Mhm.
back, but I still think they're pulling in a really good 2023 class coming into this year, so
Yeah.
we'll see if it helps. But they have struggled on the defensive side. So I still don't know who they're going to have at quarterback next year.
Uh, is it Milton? That kid? What was his
Milrow?
name? Milrow. Yeah. Sorry.
I don't think Milrow will start. I think somebody else will start.
Mm.
But we'll see from there. Um, some notable signees from the most recent National Signing Day class. Jalen Rashada signed with Arizona State. Um, the last name Lyons, tight end from Cali, signed with USC. He's a 4-star tight end.
Hmm.
I know Georgia was in on him. I think Bama was in on him. Like he was one of those really good guys, but goes to USC. Big pickup there for
Stays home.
Riley. Mm-hmm. Trying to think of some any other news.
So there's the college expansion news. The
Oh yeah,
Pac-
so
Pac-12.
I
Oh,
saved
did
some
you?
stuff actually in my Twitter feed.
Okay. Did you want to go or?
So here I'll say the one.
Okay.
So the Big 12 officially released or is allowing Oklahoma and Texas to leave a year early to go to the
Hmm.
SEC. So they'll be in the SEC starting in 2024. They'll have to
Yep.
end up paying the Big 12 though $100 million, I believe, for leaving early.
Nothing though for them.
Yeah. And then to counter that, Pac-12 is struggling to find a TV rights deal. It looks like this is
Mhm.
from a tweet from a Necessary Roughness Barstool account. And if new commissioner Kalivikov overvalued what the league would receive, and the Big 12 is receiving much more interest. Appears to be heading towards the Pac-12 receiving less money than they planned. What I would say to that is it's because nobody's up
Mhm.
watching your games,
Yeah.
and you have two of your biggest brands leaving to go
Yeah.
to the Big Ten. So that's
But the one thing I did want to add to that is before, from what I was reading, before they would sign a new deal, they're looking to add San Diego State and SMU, which I actually think would be really good pickups because adding the Dallas market to possibly being a part of the Pac-12 could be tremendously helpful in getting a television deal done, especially if they were looking to re-up with Fox again. Because, you know, Fox is headquartered out of Dallas, so working with them would be great. And San Diego State, just because how many people live in Southern California, and you're losing your two biggest Southern California teams. So adding San Diego State, which as far as I don't live in Southern California, but as far as I know, San Diego State would be the third largest football fan base down there behind USC and UCLA when it comes to local teams. I think that's a really good pickup for them if they actually land those before a TV deal.
I would agree there. I mean, obviously, there are no USC or UCLA, but
obviously, yeah. But you don't see a lot of those in the wild.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw a thing going around for the SEC. Like they were going to try to do like a 9-conference schedule where they'll do 3 permanent teams and 6 rotationals.
Yeah.
And I think for Georgia, there was one list I saw. It was like Auburn, Florida, and South Carolina. I mean,
South
those
Carolina?
are usually that we always play South Carolina. I mean, those are always that's a big time. I mean, it's a bigger rivalry between those two. Those are really our 3 main SEC rivals.
I would say is that probably though, because if they were going to do holding on to rivalries, because there's so many teams that would get like trapped, right? Because like Alabama has to play Auburn, Tennessee, and LSU.
Well, I mean, you play them all the time anyway. They play each other all the time anyway.
But
well, that's like Georgia plays those 3 teams anyway all year.
No, what I'm saying is that like because with the rotational with 3 permanent ones, is because you're trying to hold on to yearly rivalries, which is why Florida Georgia would be held on to, and Auburn Georgia, like those, you know what I mean. You can't take those out. Those those are permanent parts of the SEC scheduling. Like I would imagine, like Tennessee Vanderbilt would probably be forced, stuff like that.
I think it comes down to the ADs voting on it. So we'll see. If anything happens. I don't think anything like that will happen until after this year.
Yeah.
So, although it'll probably happen sooner than we think, actually, because they got to get the schedule out.
About a year early, right?
So, well, yeah, they usually come out like a little bit towards like the fall for next year's schedule. But we'll see.
Right.
I think that's all the news we have.
I think it's time to move on to the moment of the show.
Alrighty, so the main event. If you're still hanging around here, make sure you're subscribed and liked in the video.
Yes, please.
I mean, we credit you for staying around. So we'll try to make this short and sweet. Our top 5 coaches at the moment. Do you want to just go back and forth?
Yeah, we'll go back and forth because I think we'll probably have some.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we'll probably have some of the same ones. So.
Do you want to start number 1 or number 5?
Start number 5.
How about we start at 1? Or do we both? Who do you have at 1?
I got Kirby Smart.
Okay, so do I. Kirby Smart, clearly at the top of the game. Georgia runs the show right now. Nothing else to say.
Yeah.
Who's your number 2?
I decided to keep Nick Saban. Simply for the fact that obviously this year wasn't up to the Alabama standard, but when the Alabama standard is winning national championships and you still win 10 games and finish in the top 5, I mean, you finished with the best class again this year too. It's Alabama's Alabama, and Nick Saban's really the guy who's done it, even when he has a horrible offensive coordinator and bad defense. So I would keep him at number 2. What did you have?
I also have Saban at 2.
Yep.
So look at that. Again, we do not tell each other.
Nope.
Beforehand. So it's just pure coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Saban's still, I think he's still right there. He's still able to recruit at a high level. He's still able to find success even through all the coordinators going in and out. It's kind of cool. It's kind of crazy to think how like successful a team can be when you have so much change going on. Normally you lose a coordinator and it might set you back a year or two.
The Alabama factory, this is not a big deal at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's expected.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right? I think this is when we start to see maybe a little difference.
I think we will here too.
All right, who's your number 3?
I have Jim Harbaugh.
Okay, so do I.
Okay.
All right, here.
I think we'll probably have the same reasons too. I mean, he hasn't been able to recruit as good, but quite frankly, I mean, Ohio State has way better talent, and he still seems to beat the crap out of them twice now in a row. He had to build up that program from pretty much rubble when he got there, and I think back-to-back Big Ten and college football playoff berths are pretty good. But I do think there is a tier, right? Like Nick Saban, Kirby Smart at the top, then Jim Harbaugh. There's a clear difference between Saban and Harbaugh.
Yeah, I think it's Kirby Smart.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to add Saban in there, you can. That's fine. I think at the moment, though, it's Smart, and then it's Saban in another tier just below it.
Yeah.
And then it's Harbaugh and the rest. But yeah, I agree. Harbaugh has been able to find success since that COVID year when they sucked. He's been able to find success, win at a high level, beat your rival. But again, he just hasn't taken that next step, which is win a bowl game. He has one bowl game win, I think, in his entire tenure. So he's got to be able to fix that. But from pure just recruiting, I think developmenting, just power run, like we're going to smash mouth football and we're going to find success. Like they run the Big Ten right now. So
yeah.
Who's your number 4?
I have Brian Kelly of LSU.
Do you really? I have Kelly.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, dude!
we just have. We're
I
on
thought
the
I was
same...
gonna pull a fast one.
No. I had Brian Kelly.
Dang.
So
I did. Oh.
So I'll give my reasoning before you give yours, just so we can, because I think we'll have different reasonings a little bit. I think people underestimate how hard of a job Notre Dame is to actually coach at, because you are put at a severe academic requirement. So you're not able to recruit like Alabama or Georgia. So with him being able to do what he was at Notre Dame and then immediately take that success and move it right over to LSU, like there was not
And now
a
he has
dip.
that freedom of doesn't really have to worry about the academic.
Exactly, and you got to see it these past 2 recruiting classes where, at Notre Dame he was a top 20 class guy. At LSU he was a top 10 guy. You know what I mean? And with that upgraded talent, I could easily see Brian Kelly getting a national championship in the next 5 years. Like, I don't think that's a crazy future to look at.
Now, he's never been able to win the big one, though.
Mm-hmm. But I think part of that is talent. I think he was at
True.
a talent deficit when he was at Notre Dame, but now that he's at LSU and that deficit has shrunk considerably, especially with the top. I mean, he beat Alabama and Nick Saban in his first year at LSU with not his players.
That's true. And now we'll see what he does, because this year it'll be at Tuscaloosa.
Mm-hmm.
He got it. Granted, he got it at home this year.
Right.
But yeah, you can clearly see how good of a coach he is.
Yeah.
When you give him all of the extra, like all the fun stuff that LSU brings to the table, better complexes, better facilities, more room academic wise. Like better area. You're in the South. You are in a gold mine in Louisiana for football players. Like you don't have to worry about trying to steal people from the Big Ten now and the ACC. Like you or in Notre Dame, like you're able to just run your state. Like and it helps when there's not really another team. I mean, you have Tulane, I guess, now in Louisiana, but even then, like you run
they don't
that
recruit
state
the same way. They don't recruit like LSU does.
No. So you're able to go out and then you got Texas right next door. Like you're able to go and steal guys from there. Like he's doing a great job, and I think he's gonna. I wouldn't be surprised if they win the West again. I would not be surprised at all. There's a lot of unknowns at Bama right now. We don't know how the coordinator's going to be. Who's going to be calling the plays? I mean, there's just a lot of unknowns, and there's a lot of knowing what's happening at LSU.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, I think that's why we both have him at 4. But I think this is going to be the one where you have a different one. I'm saying, what was your number
I
5?
have no idea. Well, what was yours?
Well, I want you to go first because I've gone
Oh,
first. The
I
last
feel
one.
like we have the same.
Okay. Let's see.
I had Dabo Sweeney.
I don't.
Okay, sweet. So I
Yeah.
had Dabo Sweeney. Even all of his shenanigans and weird stuff he does, cringe stuff, he finds a way. He still runs the ACC.
Yeah.
As I mean, he's 2 national championships. He's been to the playoff 4 or 5 times now?
I think 5 times. Yeah.
5 times. I mean, honestly, they didn't really have. He was stuck with Uyunglele for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Still won the ACC title game last year. This past year, was still pretty much if they didn't lose to South Carolina, they possibly could have snuck into the playoff. Just think about that. Even how bad of a year they had, they still almost made the playoff. He still runs the conference, and until somebody can prove me otherwise, they're still up there. I mean, now FSU is going to give them a real hell of a shot this year because I think FSU is the best team in the ACC.
Yeah, I'll be in Clemson, South Carolina.
But again, FSU hasn't proven that they can beat Clemson yet recently.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time they beat Clemson?
2014.
I mean, yeah, so we're closing in on a decade.
Yeah.
Closing in on a decade. I mean, until they prove me otherwise, Clemson still runs the conference.
Yeah.
And he's still able to recruit at a high level. He needs his stubbornness not to use the transfer portal annoys me, even though I hate Clemson because
who doesn't? Who doesn't? But
so,
I mean, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, listen, until he's still one of the best coaches, I would have Day at 6 if I was going to put anybody.
Okay.
Just from a recruiting standpoint, he's not able to win the big game. But from a recruiting standpoint and just regular season winning, he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But Dabo is able he has the postseason pedigree. He has the regular season pedigree. He has all of that. But they need to have a better year this year, I will say.
Yeah.
This will be a big year for Clemson, especially because I think the ACC is a lot improved. You got FSU. You still have Clemson because I think Clemson's just going to be right up there because now you got Klubnik. He's going to get a full offseason under that offense. They're going to have a new offensive coordinator now. They got who did they just get? Who did they get? They
TCU guy, Sonny. No, not Sonny.
Riley.
Yeah, Garrett Riley.
So they just got Garrett Riley. I mean, their offense is going to be good this year. So, but you got
we hope so.
but you have FSU who has all their guys coming back. You got NC State. We're going to see how what's his name? Brendan Armstrong does there.
I think you still got
Wake
UNC.
Forest.
You still have UNC.
UNC is going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Pitt. I know Pitt's going to be a good team. A sneaky team in the ACC. We're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
ACC is going to be. This is going to be a fun year this year because I feel like, and we'll talk about this more on the closer to the year. But this is I think this 2023 year has the chance to be one of a really good years because I think there's not really, aside from Georgia, because until someone can beat them, they're still, even if someone beats them, they're still clearly at the top. Aside from them, the Penguins just scored again, 4-1. Anyway, aside from them, there's so much parity. There's not all these teams are just clumped together. Talent is spread out everywhere. The transfer portal, NIL is just making all these teams just compete. Quarterbacks are staying. Quarterbacks are going elsewhere. This is going to be a fun year because now you got the ACC's good, Pac-12's good. The Big 12 has new teams coming in. Because you got
the Big 10 is Michigan and Ohio State.
Big 10. Well, that's not Tulane's going to win the AAC now.
Yeah.
The SEC is still loaded from top to bottom. Fun year
Well,
ahead.
I don't know from top to bottom. I mean, you got some bad bottoms.
Well, I know Florida's down there, but we don't need to talk about that.
You're right. But
Who is your number 5?
I had Luke Fickle.
Okay, this is a big
Yeah.
one. This was not on my radar.
So I picked
Explain.
so I picked Luke Fickle because what he was able to do at Cincinnati is better than any group of 5 coach in the past decade, right? You know what I mean? As good as, UCF's teams were.
Chris Peterson was pretty good with Boise State.
Yeah, but they never got to top 5 in the country. You know what I mean? They never went to
How far
the
did they
college
go when
football
they
play.
won the when did they win?
They won the
Well,
Fiesta
that
Bowl. I
wasn't
think they were
around.
number
When they won the
Fiesta Bowl. I think they were 6. I think they finished 6th in the poll.
Okay. I mean, they
But
still beat a really good Oklahoma team.
no, they did. But what I mean by that is he was able to turn guys into NFL players. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
was able to recruit really well at a place like Cincinnati that's in the American that doesn't really mean as much, right? You know, it's not a Power 5 school, but he was able to make them competitive with Power 5 schools. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he took them to the playoffs.
Win those games.
He took them to the playoff, and quite frankly, he was more competitive than Oklahoma was against Bama the 2 years prior in his game against Bama last year.
That game just got out of hand because they couldn't keep Ritter upright. I mean, they
Yeah.
were just. I don't even know how many sacks there were.
It wasn't
Bama
great,
just ran
but
the ball all over.
they didn't get run off the field. You know what I mean? They still put together a pretty
Well, they kinda
competitive
did,
game
but-
for their talent level. So I think with him going up to Wisconsin and now having resources, I think sky's the limit for Luke
Yeah.
Fickell. I think the West is within
Mhm.
reach.
And
I don't know
he
about
already coached the one.
yeah, because the
Yeah,
other
I mean,
coach dropped out for some reason.
I don't know. But yeah, that's sneaky one. I don't know if he's top 5 personally.
Mhm.
Maybe late top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, if I would probably go after 5, I would probably go Day, and then probably Lincoln Riley.
Mhm.
It's at 7, and then 8 probably what's Chris Kleiman is his name
Mhm.
from Kansas State.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Sonny Dykes is up there.
Mhm.
You could say, I mean, this is a sneaky one. It wouldn't be my top 10, but like Shane Beamer,
That's not a bad one. That's not a bad one.
not a bad one. They just got a big time recruit, actually, a signing day guy. They just got a big time guy,
Mhm.
who, and they got some guys coming back. They got something brewing in Columbia, but I like Beamer.
Where's Sunbelt Billy?
Top 50?
Maybe.
No, I'm just kidding. He's probably top 30.
I don't
Top
know.
30.
I don't know if you could say top 30 yet.
I mean, maybe.
I think he's top
40.
50. I think he's top 50 for sure. But I think there's just other guys who have
Number
put
50.
together. He's number 50.
It'll be interesting if they have another down year.
He'll get
I
fired.
gotta think how bad do they have to be for him to get fired next year?
5 and 7 in my opinion. Because
So 5 and 7?
yeah, I'm telling you, because you know Florida fans. You know how crazy Florida fans are with their expectations?
They're very crazy.
Now the people on the inside now double that with expectations.
Oh yeah, the boosters and stuff are crazy.
They will kick him out if he goes 5 and 7 again. I'm being straight up. They do not like this guy. From what I've seen with the whole NIL thing that's happened with the Jalen Rashada,
Mhm.
it's
I
a
think-
disaster inside the building.
I think it depends. I would say so let's say he gets a full season. He has if he wouldn't get
I don't think
fired
he'd get fired mid-season.
in season. He would I think 4 and 8 would be maybe the chopping block. If not, you get one more chance next year. We'll give you one more shot, another recruiting class, but you got to get at least 7 or 8 wins.
The only reason why I do think missing a bowl game is enough to get him axed is just for the fact that he will be the scapegoat for Florida's problems when it came to NIL.
True.
You know what I mean? Like the boosters, the front, the administration, they're gonna just lump everything and say, "Oh, it was all Billy's fault. We're gonna move on as a program. We're gonna move on past the Gator Collective and all this stuff. It's all gone, and it goes with Billy." And that's just how as someone from the outside who knows people who go to the school, know what it's like somewhat on the inside there. There is fire in that room. Like there is some heat. There are people who are very upset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll see. But we don't like to bully on Bayou Billy.
No, we're not. I don't think we're
We're
bullying
realists
when we
here.
say it.
I mean, there's other coaches too. They're on the hot seat. I think if Ryan Day can't beat Michigan again, there's questions there. That seat's going to get a little warmer.
Yeah.
You can't lose to your rival.
If Mel Tucker does bad again, I think
he'll be gone.
He'll be gone.
Well, Deion Sanders, we'll see how he does. He's not getting fired after this year, but
no, he'll get it. I think
I think they'll go 5-7
with the whole situation with Colorado. If he'll get at least 3 years to turn it around.
Yeah, for sure.
Now Jimbo Fisher. I don't know with him.
Problem is they have to buy him out. I think.
But with that oil money, you never know.
True, but even then, I don't even know if they want to pay him all that.
It's a lot of money. It's like, what is it?
I don't know how much longer. I don't know how much longer. Yeah, I don't know how much longer they're gonna try to hold on to him.
It's not worth the money.
Steve Sarkisian.
Steve Sarkisian.
Brett Venables.
I think Venables will at least get another shot. Yeah. Just because
Sark doesn't get money more years. Texas people are crazy.
No, he does not get another year. I'm telling you.
Todd Herman got fired. Tom Herman got fired with a winning record.
I didn't think he was like 8-4.
He winning record as a Texas football coach.
Mm-hmm.
And got fired.
As I say, Jimbo Fisher had an extension last year.
Well, we'll see because they got the Bobby. Let's see how the Bobby Petrino experiment works.
Yeah, Jimbo's contract is through 2031.
He won't make it then if he keeps.
No, I don't think he'll make it till then.
If they don't get at least, if they don't get a bowl game this year, he might get fired. I'm not even joking.
I don't know if
they might buy him out.
It's just that's the thing with Texas A&M is I'm sitting here and I'm going, my gut instinct would say a school that's obsessed with football that has fired coaches for less in the past would fire a coach for missing a bowl game twice in 2 years. But on the other hand, I look at it and I go, they have so much money committed to him. They've given him so much control of the football staff and everything around the football department. It's like, can they fire him?
Yeah, that's true.
Like from a realistic standpoint,
because they're not going to want to. They're not going to want to buy him out.
Exactly. Oh, I got a developing story. Oh, it's college basketball. New Mexico State's banned.
Oh,
that's crazy. If they, I'll just read the headline to you. New Mexico State hoops suspension reportedly involves players' role in alleged hazing incident.
Nice.
A little Micah Parsons.
Oh, did you see Micah Parsons got asked today? They're like, "What's the weirdest thing people don't know about you?" And he says, "I have a foot fetish."
That's not the weirdest thing.
I said, "Well, that's a little weird."
It's a little weird, but it's the weirdest thing? People don't talk about the whole Penn State thing. Come on.
Yeah. No, we don't need to get into that.
All right. Fair enough.
Alrighty. I think we covered everything.
Mm-hmm.
Coming close to time. And I think we are ready for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think we're ready. You got any big plans for Sunday?
I'm just gonna be hanging out, watching the game, and seeing how I do. Or
Yes,
I got some Super Bowl squares doing, but other than
hmm
that, nothing crazy.
I got some work in the morning on
All
Sunday.
right.
I work a 10 to 5 shift, so I'll be good for the game though.
There you go. Yeah, it starts at
Exactly.
6:30, so which means it won't start till like 6:45, 7.
Exactly. You
You know,
excited for the Rihanna halftime show?
ha. I don't know. I don't really watch the halftime shows anymore. I mean, they're kind of overhyped now anymore.
I have to say they're just. I mean, the one last year was just the best part about it was when 50 Cent showed up
Yeah.
out of nowhere playing
Mm-hmm.
in the club, and I was like, oh my god, is that 50 Cent?
Nice.
What's he doing here?
LOL. Nice. Alrighty.
uh,
So, guys, like we've said twice now, make sure you're liking, subscribing, um,
mhm.
telling your friends, passing it along. Um, we're going to be getting into diving more into the draft stuff coming up. We got pro
Yes.
days coming up probably soon. Trying to think of anything else. Like we got full off season now. We're digging in right into the weeds and stuff. Um, more lists coming out. Let us know if there's any cool lists you want us to talk about or rank or do whatever, but let us know. But
Yeah.
subscribe,
Please. Yeah.
like,
Please subscribe,
watch
guys.
it if you're gonna make it. And if you make it all the way to over an hour of watching, congratulations.
You're a
Appreciate it.
true fan.
We thank you for watching, sticking around.
Yeah.
It's true fans, a true Nolan dog. Um, we thank you for that. Did you see Alabama student section doing the Noel chant at the basketball game the other night?
I did not. No. Really? Why?
So Bama was up by beating Florida by probably over 20 points, and this is at the Bama game. Do you hear this? You hear that?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is at the Alabama game. Alabama versus Florida, mocking the Florida Gators. So, but again, we're not going to get sidetracked. Subscribe, like, comment, pal your friends, find us on Spotify, listen to us if you're on the road or working out. Dylan, any final words?
Let's go Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Fly Eagles.
All right, guys. We'll catch you next time. New episode next week. Have a good one.
See ya.